Hey guys, it's Kelly here again and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another more art related video. Now this time I have something a little bit different. I have a monthly challenge, if I may call it that. I found these monthly challenges on the internet, you know, just like Inktober, where each day you draw a drawing using ink, and I found that for each month there's actually a different prompt that you can use. Now for March there is such a thing as March of the Robots, which I absolutely fell in love with, mostly because I love puns, I love wordplay, and hearing March of the Robots just made me giggle, so I thought that I should do this. Now I don't know exactly how to draw robots, I've never actually drawn robots, so mine are very cartoony and very characterized, and I do hope you guys enjoy them. I bought these tiny little sketchbooks that are the Hanmule or something, bamboo mixed media sketchbooks. They are for watercolor. I will list them in the description down below, but they have these tiny little pieces of watercolor paper, and I thought they'd be perfect for my little robots. Now the idea of this challenge is to have each day of March you draw a different robot. Now, there's no prompts, there's no actual things that you need to follow, just each day you draw a robot. So that's what I did, and I decided for myself and for my robots that each day, instead of having like a prompt or a word or whatever, I would just name them. And I tried to pick names that kind of went along with the little designs and maybe what character I would think my robot would have. So right now the one that I'm drawing is my very first one, and his name is Kevin, and I thought that Kevin sounded like a very cute name and it worked well for, say, a robot that has just been activated and he's just now waking up and just now discovering the world, and he's exploring everything, and that's why I drew him kind of baby-ish, exploring the world on grasses. There's a tiny little flower next to him and a little butterfly, and he's just fascinated with the vast world. So that was my idea for Kevin, and I named each and every robot, and I hope you guys think that the names fit them. I personally think so, at least for the ones that I've come up with so far. I gotta say I am a little late on this challenge just because I was supposed to start it last week, but I couldn't get the actual physical time to record me drawing them. So I do have a couple more that I've already come up with as a design, but I haven't drawn them on watercolor paper and I haven't actually finished the illustrations. So keep your fingers crossed that I will be able to come up with 31 designs for tiny little robots, because that is a lot of tiny little robots. My initial idea was, well, not my initial, my idea was and still is to create these robots either going by shapes, going by a backstory, or going by the name. Now Kevin, I already explained, he kind of had a backstory. I wanted to create a little robot that is just been activated and discovers the world. For my second robot that you see me create right now, his name is Bob, and I thought that I would go off of the circular and spherical shapes, and that is why I made a very, very round robot. And just like my boyfriend called him, he is Bob the Blob Bot. So that's his name, Bob the Blob Bot, and the idea behind him is that he's kind of like a trash robot, and he engulfs absolutely everything that he meets, and that's why he has this little kind of shovel thingy hanging from his mouth, and he just ends up consuming everything that goes in his way. Now for Kevin, I made him in blue nuances, and for Bob I made him more brownish, yellowish, because as I said, Kevin's brand new and Bob is not. So my idea for Bob was to make him look a little bit more rusty. Yeah, that was the word. To make him seem a little bit more rusty. And that is actually the idea behind the third robot as well. So for the first one, I kind of struggled just because I don't use watercolor that much, and I'm still just learning and experimenting, so Kevin was kind of a trial and error. For Bob and so on, I decided to go a little bit more detailed in my line work rather than my watercolors. So there's not much of a background and objects around him. It's just the robot is the center of the piece, and yeah, there's nothing to distract you. Just because, you know, with Kevin, there's the flower that's not well drawn and the butterfly that's missing a whole wing. So I don't know how it's flying, but let's just ignore that. And yeah, so Bob is... My initial idea was not to make him look creepy. I did make his eyes red, and I did make some other robot's eyes red. That made him look a little bit more diabolical, I guess. That was not my initial idea. I thought that Bob, just because maybe he was my favorite, but I thought of him as a very cutesy robot that's just very gluttonous and just wants to eat. I did not have any intention of making him evil, but that's kind of what we ended up with. So anyway, that's kind of what I have to say about Bob the Blob Bot. So I will leave you to some music and get back to you when we go to our next robot. Now we're doing Louie, who is my third robot, and Louie, I actually love how he turned out. Even though Bob's my favorite as a design, Louie is my favorite as a drawing. The idea behind him was, well, I don't really want to say what the idea was. I mean, he has a pack of dynamite sticks on his back, so I think it's pretty obvious where my inspiration came from. But yeah, so Louie is very kind of sarcastic and kind of done with it all. He's done with just life in general. He's sick of everyone and everything, so he has this kind of expression that says it all. So that's what my idea for Louie was. I love the shape, the overall shape that he makes as, you know, a silhouette, and I also love his colors. Just like Bob, I made him look a lot more rusty than, say, a freshly new robot, and I also made his eye red, even though with him it kind of works better just because he's not necessarily evil, but he's not necessarily good either. So I made him rusty, and I was debating whether or not to put some rust splatters here and there, but then I quickly thought that idea just because I thought it would look like blood stains and it would just go a little bit too far. I want them to be cartoony and to be kind of fun, so I scratched that idea pretty quickly. His feet are something that I really like as an idea, and they are meant to be kind of like tank, I don't know what they're called, but the way the tanks move, that kind of thing. So that was the idea, and he is so done with everything. He's just so tired that his eyes are just dragging next to him. So that was the idea of his pose. He's kind of hunched back, and he just very done with everything. I forgot to mention, I will add some timestamps for each robot, so you can find them in the description bar down below, and you can easily go forward or go back if you want to see a specific robot. Robot number 4 is our guy Marvin here. He is the first levitating robot that I created. He again has a very kind of done with your shit kind of look on his face, and he also kind of seems like a know-it-all. I don't know why, so that's why I gave him the name Marvin, just because Marvin sounds like I don't know, sounds sarcastic and kind of like a know-it-all, so that's why I gave him that name. But I do think that it actually fits him quite well. You guys be the judge of that. But yeah, Marvin is again a newer brand of robots, so that is why his silhouette is more sleek and his coloring is more blue, even though I did manage to get him a little bit more like a dirty blue, like a smoky blue. So he has been activated for some time now, and he's also a Cyclops because why not? And also I think I could have gone without the arms, but hey, he's got arms. A thing to quickly note about my drawings in my entire video is that unfortunately my setup is not that great, and you do see my camera kind of go dark and light and dark and light. I still haven't figured out how to make it stop. I know I need to just look through the settings and edit that, because it is constantly readjusting its exposure, which is very annoying, and I found it very annoying while I was editing the video. Unfortunately, I couldn't fix it in post, so I will have to figure it out with my actual camera. I haven't done it yet just because my lighting is very bad and it doesn't always look good if I don't make it like auto focus and auto do things. So I still need to figure that out. I am sorry if the lighting changes annoy you. I will try to do better in the near future. We are moving on to our robot number 5, who is Linda. Now, at some point I realized that all my robots had a male name, so I thought, okay, so let's create some female robots. There's only 2 here in this set, but maybe in the next 2 or 3, I don't know how many I have to create, there will be more. But yeah, the most cliche thing that I thought when I thought about a female robot is maybe someone who keeps track of absolutely everything. So I had this I have my webcam box in front of me, and I used my webcam as the head of my Linda robot, so that was kind of the inspiration behind her. And I created her kind of like a moving webcam, which I think is really cute, and I think the name Linda kind of, I don't know, it works with the camera robot. I don't know what it is, but I guess it just works. And yeah, that's basically my inspiration behind her. Robot number 6 is Ginger, who is again a female robot. Now, this robot was initially named Berry, and I think Berry suits it just fine. But again, I realized that none of them were named any female names, so I decided to rename Berry into Ginger. So funny story, my parents used to have a cat before I was born, and when that cat came into the house, they thought that she was female. Sorry, they thought they had because they rescued her from the street, and they thought that the cat was female, so they named her Mary Poppins. And later on, it turned out that he's actually male, so they renamed him to Moro Poppins. So that's kind of what happened with this little robot here. He was supposed to be Berry, but then we found that he is more likely to be female, so now his name is Ginger. The idea behind Ginger was that she prints out these documents, and she's kind of like a fax machine. I don't know where you put the paper, but I guess it goes somewhere because it's got The last robot of this set is named Gordon, and he was one of those robots where I didn't really know what to do just as design wise anymore, so I went on with shapes, and I had a round robot, which is Bob, and this triangle idea, which was supposed to be Gordon, so I made him more like a triangle. Now look at him and tell me he does not look like a Gordon to you. This is the only name I see when I look at my robot. I don't know why, he seems so much like a Gordon. Maybe because I keep thinking of Gordon Ramsay, and he kind of, I don't know, looks a little mean, and just my robot looks very mean, so I don't know, that's I guess my idea behind him. He is again a levitating robot, and he's again on the newer side. He also looks very all-knowing and very mysterious, with his eyes kind of just little slits, and having his like antennas be weird floating rings on his ears or something like that. But yeah, it definitely looks all-knowing. He definitely looks like he is a robot that you will end up consulting in some way or another. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about him. Now, I want to ask you guys, which one is your favorite? Whose design did you enjoy most? And what kind of thoughts do you have in terms of the robots, their coloring, their purpose? Like, what is their purpose? For instance, Bob, you know, is a trash bot, and he kind of eats everything. And, well, we already talked about Louie and what he does or what he's about to do, but all the other ones don't have a purpose yet, so you guys think of a purpose and comment in the comments down below. Also, if you like this video and would like to see more, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button, and I will be sure to try and update you guys and do everything I can to do all of the other sets and actually create 31 robots. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here is a quick view of all of the robots that I have in this set. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that I create all of the others, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!